Welcome to the stage, chiropractor Howie. I've known on and off of him for years in the digital world, which is scary because I've been doing it for a long time and he's been doing it for a long time. Down in Mississippi, Tupelo, if I pronounce that correctly, birthplace of rock and roll, he won the doctor speaking time with us. So please welcome chiropractor Howie to the stage.
All right. Wow, okay. That's loud. All right, so I just want to kind of get a feel of what kind of a crowd we have here today, all right? So I just want to play a little game with me, all right? So who in here wants to use chiropractic exclusively as a cure for deafness? Please sit down. All right, so who here wants to use chiropractic exclusively as, or check your family and get yourself checked exclusively as a treatment for a condition or a complaint? Please sit down. Who in here wants to use chiropractic and get checked and check their family only once a year? Please sit down. All right, how about 6 months? Please sit down. How about every 3 months? Please sit down. How about once a month? Please sit down. All right, so now I want you, we're obviously going to move into once a week. So I want you all to look around this room and see how many people are standing up. Basically the whole room, right? So how do we get more thank you. Give yourselves a round of applause. You can have a seat. Thank you. So how do we get more people in our communities standing up for chiropractic care? All right? And that's really my question to you. And another thing is, were you all doing that before you went to chiropractic school? My guess is unless you were like a second generation or more chiropractor, you weren't doing that, right? You were just using chiropractic as basically a treatment for neck or back pain, going only whenever you needed it, right? So what changed? It was the education, right? The education is what changed us and made us understand that this is something that we need to be doing for ourselves and our families on a lifetime basis. Therefore, what should we be doing in our offices? Educating people onto that level of why we get our spines checked and why we check our own family on a weekly basis. Does that make sense? All right. So one of my mentors, Joe Donofrio, he always said, the orientation is the most important thing that we do. In my office, no one gets on the table until they went through a proper orientation to understand what it is that we do. Because I'll tell you, over the last 5 years or more, I've been asking, the question I ask people when they come in their office, what is your understanding of chiropractic? And I'm sorry, it's pathetic at best. They're not even talking about neck and back pain, and we sold our souls for this, okay? And they're still not even knowing it's even about that. So why don't we focus on the real truth, why we get our spines checked, and why we check our own families on a lifetime basis, right? So before I get started, I just kind of want to help you understand why I'm so passionate. I'm chiropractor Howie, but today I'm playing the role of Morpheus, the white Morpheus, okay? So just so you all know, all right? But before we get started, I just kind of want to go through my personal story of why I'm passionate about what I do. So basically, as far as I can remember, about the first 25 years, I lived in neck and back pain. Suffered most all my life. At one point, I was sleeping maybe 3 to 4 hours a night like a vampire on my back because I was afraid if I rolled over one way or the other in the middle of the night, I may wake up and suffer the rest of the day. So I also had to learn how to take naps during the day. And that earned me a title of King of the Naps by one of my old roommates. So that was just my life. That's what I thought it was, right? Because I wasn't ever educated. And I even came from a large chiropractic family, went to countless chiropractors before going to school, and then I had this like emotional conflict by going to school. I show up at school, the staff doctor says they want to check my spine once a week. I'm like, once a week? Like, that's like over adjusting, right? So I call up my uncle who's a chiropractor and I ask him, I'm like, well, they want to see me once a week. Like, that's over adjusting. He's like, over adjusting? Over adjusting, it's either there or it's not. And I'm like, okay, well, that kind of makes sense, right? So I started getting under weekly care, getting my spine checked. Now I've been getting my own spine checked at least twice a week for over 20 years. So I offer the same thing to the people who come in my office because that's what's changed my life. So now I've become like, since that disconnect and understanding, like what was the disconnect? Unfortunately, most of our profession, they don't work for the people. They work for medical insurance companies, all right? And so I understood that, and what I started doing is like, all right, I have to become a master at this philosophy, at the science, at the art, and the communication of chiropractic, because that's how important it is, because I want people in my community to understand why I get my spine checked, why you all get your spines checked on a regular basis, right? Because that's what needs to happen. I get tired of the chiropractors talking about it, from the stage, every man, woman, and child on the planet from birth to earth, but very few of us, unfortunately, are really doing that in reality. I'm just sorry to say that. So over the last few years, my whole job has always been educate people, so I've always educated people. And over the last 2 years, my practice actually grew during all this nonsense, because I was doing what I needed to do, is I was educating the people on the importance. So I learned that, hey, I must have something here that's valuable to share with people. So I started a YouTube channel, Freedom Chiropractic. It's for the chiropractic profession, so help you guys understand what it is that we need to do, what I've seen in my office that's built the office that I have, all right? So, and another thing that's made me who I am is I had a friend that always he used to talk about his top 2 core values, and I never really gave it much thought, but originally I was like, oh, well, obviously the top one I could think of was truth, all right? That's definitely my core value. And then during this nonsense that's happened over the last 2 years or more, I learned that freedom was my second one. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because when you understand what your core values are, you're not going to violate them, okay? Because these are too important for me to violate. Just like chiropractic to me. I can't violate that because it's too important. And also it's helped me navigate, and understand that maybe if I would have known and understood those values before now, I would have been able to utilize and maybe negate some of those negativities that's happened in my life, because I'm not going to participate with them. I'm not going to allow it to happen, if that makes any sense, all right? So I don't want to screw this up, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go off of what Morpheus says, all right? Dang it, you've got to be kidding me. Oh, that's a 3. All right, sorry. All right, so now, all right, before we get going, I guess, we're going to talk about, where's that, damn it. I got 2 5s here. Why do I got 2 5s? All right, anyways, so I'm going to be sharing truth with here. And instead of the pills, I'm going to say, anyone that doesn't want to hear the truth and want to live their whole lives and just be oblivious to what's going on, you can go ahead and use the blue door, okay? Or we could stay in the red room, not to be confused with red rum, seeing as that we're in Colorado, right? So stay in here, and we're going to take you down the rabbit hole, all right? Now, what rabbit hole am I really talking about? We're talking about, it's really time for us to wake up as chiropractors. The rabbit hole that I'm really talking about is the white lie that we've been sold, all right? What white lie is that? The white lie that we've been sold is our victory over the American Medical Association, all right? Wow, that went fast. All right, so our victory over the so we all know about the Wilk versus the AMA case, right? All right, so the part that's not usually talked about, okay? So the AMA was created to contain and eliminate anyone that's not that's competition with the medical profession, all right? That was basically the goal. So during that time, when we sued the American Medical Association, it took us over 10 years to beat them in court, all right? During that time, we were included in the insurance game. And does anyone understand who owns the diagnosis codes here?
The devil.
It is actually the American Medical Association. So while we were suing them and beating them, we were included in a game owned by them, all right? So what happened is we've heard of the Mercedes 80s, where people would, we could charge anything we wanted and get paid for anything we wanted as chiropractors, right? So that happened for a while. We took the bait, and after we took the bait, they were like, well, before we could continue to pay you, we want to provide diagnosis codes, medical procedures, and all these medical protocols and whatever, right? So the chiropractors out in the field said, hey, to the schools, we need to be teaching this stuff in our schools so these chiropractors the students can get paid medical insurance when they graduate, right? So what do you think was taken out of the chiropractic curriculum when medicine was added to the chiropractic curriculum? Chiropractic was taken out, right? So this is why we're at where we're at. And I understand this, it's not easy, and I never said that changing the world was supposed to be easy, right? I mean, but wasn't that our charge? Just so you know, there's a lot of freedom chiropractic out there. Which way is this?
Right here.
Oh, all right. So that was the other one, and this will be like the profile, right? It'll be that. Just so you know. All right. So instead of the matrix, what I'm talking about is, I believe it's the medical matrix that we're all trapped in. All right. This medical matrix owns everything, right? They medicalized everything from birth to death. They've medicalized natural things. Birth is now a medical procedure that requires medical intervention to make it happen, right? So, unfortunately, they've medicalized everything, including our own profession. That's just the truth, because we are owned and controlled by the medical profession. Now, with that understanding, when we're playing their game, we're never going to own that game, because they're always going to have the ball. They own that arena. We're never going to win in that arena, ever. And it's been designed that way, people. You have to understand that we're all trapped in the matrix as long as we continue to play their game. So as long as we play their game, all we are is a competition. We're not a threat at all. But I'm going to tell you what, because what they have created us into victims. Victimhood, they own you. You're a slave. But empowerment, when you understand where true health and life come from, they can't own you anymore. And now we become a threat. We're not competition anymore. We are a threat to their survival. If every human being was under care, like you all know, right? You all probably don't use medicine, right? Why would you? When your body's functioning the way the Creator created it, why would you have to be medical intervention? Isn't necessary? They want a sick civilization because that's where they make money. Because unfortunately, our politicians, our medicine, and even our profession, they all claim that they serve the people. But in reality, we serve corporations. Our politicians serve corporations. Medicine serves corporations, and unfortunately, the majority of our profession serve corporations as well. It's all part of the trap to control us and keep us under their control. All right. Yeah, that's not going to happen. All right. So I know this was touched on. I just want to bring it up, all right? So no one's going to save chiropractic, all right? Because no one else makes money off of chiropractic. When you're practicing chiropractic in its purity, the only people that make money off of chiropractic is the chiropractor. So it reminds me of a story. It was Ethan Hawke played Tesla. It wasn't a very good movie, but the part that was really beautiful about it is in that J.P. Morgan's daughter was enamored with Tesla, but when she figured out he has no economic sense or financial sense, she kind of was bailed on him, right? Because as you all know, he wanted to give energy away for free. She was like, dude, my dad or no one else is going to pay you if they can't make buku amounts of money off of you, right? So we're never going to be part of the model, people, because they can't make money off of us. Think about it, right? Who makes money off of chiropractic in its purity? It's only chiropractics. The only way it's going to make a difference is through a grassroots movement by educating the people, eventually building a tribe that will not, your community's going to notice it. There's no way that that's not going to happen, right? Because they're going to notice this. So I just want to play a real quick video. I'm going to set it up. So I don't know if y'all watched this, Into the Spider-Verse. This is just a little clip. It's basically, so the characters come together from different dimensions, all right? So the older Spider-Man, Peter Parker, is teaching the younger Spider-Man, Miles Morales, okay? So this is what they have to say about it.
Save the whole world. You can't think about saving the world. You have to think about saving
all right.
one.
So anyways, that didn't work out. So basically, bottom line is, how do we save the people? How do we do this, right? Well, you can't do it. You can't just think about saving the whole world. You got to do it one person at a time, right? It's one individual at a time, one spine at a time, educating one person at a time. And then over time, You're walking into a landscape of people and, a world of, men, women, children under regular lifetime care because it builds over time, right? Isn't that what we all want? I've been in practice for 20 years now. I have people that have been with me for 20 years getting their own spines checked weekly and checking their family weekly. I mean, it's freedom, all right? So that's how I look at it. When we're providing chiropractic in its purity and its truth, it's freedom in the office because I never have to tell people anything other than the truth. I mean, this is how we take care of ourselves and our families. So when people say something, well, this is what I do for myself and my family. Well, I would recommend if the experts are doing this for themselves and their families, maybe we all should do it. You all should do it as well, right? So when all that happens, it all leads to freedom! Yeah, it's not very loud. Anyways, that's part of my video. It's about freedom. And that's really I want to stand on is freedom and just let you understand that if we do this in our communities, the impact makes a difference. When we empower the people, that's when the difference is going to happen, right? Because no one's going to sway you from this chiropractic thing now, right? Understanding it, you can't go back. And the same thing with the people, right? So that's what we need to do in our communities, all right? So that's what I really wanted to share with you all today is bring that to our communities, get more people in our community standing up for chiropractic. That's what we need to see, and it would change the world. Thank you.